morning, good evening, and to some, good night. You are tuning in to another midnight memoir. And as I fall into an insanity induced by many sleepless nights, I cannot help but ponder the unifying factor of all humans, the element that unites us all. Often quoted as it taxes death and disease, but little children that pass away or die or are taken or never come to be completely do not face taxes, and perhaps not disease as we term or understand the phrase, but it is true that we all die. Yes. Death, the great unifier. Often we look to the differences, always looking at the differences. This person's got more than I have, or this person looks different, sounds different, smells different. We make distinctions between things. This is the sand and this is the sea, and this is grass. So many labels, so many false certainties, false perceptions, items and concepts that we take for absolutes. And in a world full of differences, we can feel entirely isolated, completely alone. With all these distinctions, we can question where we belong and what's this all about. All these distinctions can create superior and inferior, with all these uncertainties that we take for certainties. There are two that humble us, two truths in the world of mishaps and misunderstandings. Two truths in the form of bums and death. Everybody has a bottom. And if you don't, you won't last very long, and then that fact will return to an absolute. And everybody dies. We excrete, and we are excreted from existence. We are all united in our humility. We are all united in our losses, in our vulnerabilities. It's easy to get distracted by what people want you to see. It's easy to get distracted with titles and labels and delusions that they want you to believe. I am a doctor, I am the greatest, I am a fighter, I am this, I am that. We are nothing but animals in line for the slaughter, and each day, one by one, we're slowly dwindling And yes, there are people getting reproduced and repopulated and the numbers are increasing, but in terms of us in this generation, the next generation will soon be born, and it's who's who of this generation, who's going to make it in this time. We are united in things such as fear and love. In a world of always making distinguishes, separation. This person's greater than me, or that person's beneath me, or this one, da 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 da. We love distinguishes. This person's better looking, this person's ugly. That's beautiful, that's bad, that's good. You're right, I'm wrong, or rather, more popularly said is, I'm right, you're wrong. But death and bums, the unite us. The revelations that remind us of our humility, that we do die, that we do need a moment of vulnerability where we're on a toilet and you're in a very strange position where anyone could attack you and you're practically defenseless. It's the time of total dropping your guard, and it's something that you just have to do. You have to die, you have to age, and you have to excrete. We all talk out of our bums often, speak crap into this world, false truths that we think are true and then are lies. And is a tree just because we say so? Is that its true name because we determine it? Am I my name because someone else said I am my name? What are we, and what are the limitations of our world, and what are the ones that we've said, and what are the ones that are truly there? What are the distinctions? What are the limits? Keep wanting to be unique and elevate ourselves above others, but we're all gonna die, and we all need to go to the loo at some point. We all need to drop our guard. We all need to do the humanness at some point. Even the doctor, even the king, even the queen, even the person that's walked on the moon had to go to the toilet. When you're nervous about meeting someone, they're naked underneath their clothes. There's someone that needs to go to the toilet. There's someone that didn't know anything when they were born, and there's someone that's gonna die knowing nothing. The things that we say are absolutes. The things that we trust in, the things that we put so much weight into aren't really anything at all. We speak with this arrogant certainty of a tree's a tree, and we take knowledge for granted. We take the things that we know for granted, thinking that we know them, when we're actually we're just, even language, someone made this up. It's just sounds. It doesn't really mean anything except for the meaning that you give it, and often ideas are misconstrued, misinterpreted. What am I really talking about tonight? What am I really saying? What does it mean and what does it matter? You still have to wake up for work in the morning. Even if I reveal to you you're going to die and that your boss needs to also poo, it doesn't change anything. So what do we do with the truth when it becomes irrelevant? Do we just bury it? Do we embrace the parts that we can? Are you going to start Seeing everyone as equals, no one's above you, you're not above anyone else. I hope so. I hope this brief discussion will change how you see people. No one's above, no one's below. You're gonna die as the next person's gonna die, and the next and the next and the next, and everybody needs to go to the toilet at some point. We all speak out of our butts sometimes, thinking that we know when we don't. And if we did know, if we knew the things that I was just saying, the two things, the two truths, then wouldn't that change how you do everyday life? That you wouldn't take orders, but you wouldn't give them either. You just want to show love and sympathy. Hey, I'm vulnerable too. I get that sensation of feeling desperately needing to go to the bathroom, and I get the scariness of feeling vulnerable, of having my guard dropped. That's okay, because me and you are vulnerable. We won't poke at each other's vulnerabilities. Instead, we'll build each other up. Hey, we're gonna die. Let's just try and get along while we have this short time together. We're just people passing this planet on some other journey, who knows where. And in this brief interaction, why not just make it pleasant? You don't know the person, they don't know you. No one really knows each other. We only know that we're gonna die and that we all have butts. Why not enjoy the wild ride of just speaking to someone new? Hey, you've got a butt, I've got a butt too, and we're both gonna die. Let's make this interaction as pleasant as possible. Because that's all we really know of people. Those are the certainties we have of people. That's the certainty of life. We all have butts. We all have vulnerabilities. We all have things we're afraid to share, things we're afraid to show. We'll have an uncomfortability in our gut. We're gonna die. And time will pass us by. We'll be forgotten. But while you're here, realize that when you speak, you're not always certain of what you're saying. Sometimes it's okay not to be heard. Sometimes the butt does the talking, you know. But it's okay not to be heard. It's okay to be silent. It's okay to be like, you know what, I don't know. I don't know, and that's okay. When things are really hard, you always have the certainty of death. Okay, well, I'm gonna die someday. I may as well just continue on with today and see how it goes. When you're feeling lonely, you're feeling like, man, everybody else is so cool. Just remember that they have a butt. They're not beyond their own nature. No one's beyond their own nature. They're not so great. Humans are wonderful, sure. But you're equally as human as anyone else. No one's above, no one's below. We're all gonna die. We all have butts. It's an excellent conversation starter. They might look at you funny. It's a midnight conversation starter, so save it for after everyone's really tired. But seriously, put your mind at ease. Put it at rest. As you drift off to sleep now, remember you're gonna die. Remember that the labels that you're given, that the path that you've been told to take is all subject to people's understanding, people's interpretations, people's, beliefs that they claim are absolute. All the words that I speak to you now are invented by humans. And can you put absolute certainty in people? They all have a butt. What's their authority over yours? And that's not to say to suddenly start being someone of disrespect. I'm saying, no, you're equally not someone worthy to determine things. Just be like, okay, we both have butts. We're both gonna die. We have this in common. When you look for people, not as different, but as people who share commonalities, the world becomes more open to you. It becomes more familiar. People become more familiar. You're like, hey, you know what? I get that sensation. And people who are familiar, we have compassion towards. Our friends sure annoy the heck out of us, but we stay with them because they're familiar. We go, oh yeah, I get that feeling. Sometimes I'm annoying, but when it's a stranger, we're like, oh, get out of here. I'm gonna punch that person in the face if they don't stop talking smack. Because we don't know them. We don't know their story. We don't know what's going on in their day. One bad interaction can separate a friend from a foe. Your boss might be a total douche sometimes, but if you'd seen them in a different setting, perhaps you would have been totally in love with them. That's what I'm saying about people, is realize that, okay, I've made this enemy, but is this enemy really an enemy, or is this just a label I've given them? Hold up, they have a butt too. They're just as human as I, they're just as lost as I, they're just as determined as I to be certain of a situation I have no clue about. You don't know everyone. You don't know what sort of life they've lived. You don't know what sort of day they've had. Just go, you know what I do know? We both have butts. We're both people that have to be vulnerable sometimes. We're both people that excrete terrible things. We're both people that speak foolishly. We make silly noises. And we're both gonna die. And with that in mind, if we're both gonna die, why not make today good? Time isn't infinite, and none of us know. This is kind of the blessing of death. None of us know exactly when we're going to die. So what that means is sure, you can live like for you centeredness and do everything that you want to do, but equally the person that you love, the people that you hate, you don't know their death day either, unless you're a murderer and then you force their death day. But I'm talking about the people around you, the people that you say you hate. You don't know their death day, and at the end of the day, would you be like, okay, well, I know this person that totally annoys me is gonna die tomorrow. Well, I'm sure I can muster up some kindness for them today. You both have a butt. You're both gonna die. No one's above another. Your opinion is not above theirs. You're just people trying to get along, trying to make sense of this world, this crazy world, this mad world that sometimes appears to have no sense at all. Where we label good and evil, and this person's evil, this person's just misunderstood. You've never seen their life, you've never walked their journey. Perhaps you'd be as lost as they were if you'd lived their day. You're not the only one. Everybody's got a butt. Everybody's gonna die. We're all united by that. Look at that person with compassion now and go, you know what? You're just another guy. You're just another girl. And you might die tomorrow, so today I'm gonna love you even though you drive me mental. Hey mum, you're in that nursing home, you're going crazy. Why don't, even though it's difficult for me to see you this way, why don't you come home? Why don't you just be with me today? Because I do love you. Or person on the street, I pass you by every day. Why don't you just come get coffee with me? You're not so different, you and I. We both have butts. We're both gonna die. That's the world I want you to start seeing. A world that's familiar, people that are familiar, people that aren't such strangers. We're all just people. We're all just people with vulnerabilities, afraid, and so we hide our vulnerabilities behind clothes, behind masks, behind personas. Well, we all have to take it off eventually. And because you know yourself, you can start to know others. You start seeing a mirror and going, you know what? I'm just gonna love this person. Because even if they're never gonna change, they might die tomorrow. I might be rid of them tomorrow, but today I have the opportunity to speak to them and get to know them at a deeper level. And maybe, just maybe, that the labels that I've given them are wrong. They're incorrect. And they might be so much better than what I think they are. Look at the world as potential. Look at it as an opportunity rather than an obstacle. We're always trying to escape. Stop trying to escape. Start living now. Start loving now. Start enjoying the opportunities that are presented before you. This person that's annoying, maybe they're my best friend. Hey, conversation starter. We both have butts. We have that in common at least. Everybody's always got something in common with someone else. That's the message. So as you go to sleep tonight and you're feeling totally alone, you're feeling totally miserable, and you're like, man, the Midnight Memoirs, that's the only time someone ever speaks to me that just totally gets me. There might be someone next door that gets you too. As you close those eyes, you start to fall into the oblivion of night. You're not alone. We're all people lost in this world, hoping for a better tomorrow, but all we have is today. You're given today, so make the best of it. And as the night begins to die, at the side of the day, I'll be drifting into my realm of madness, while the sun disturbs your slumber, as the sun invades your sleep to bring you forth into this new world. Behold it, my friend. See it as a place of unity, and not a place of distinctions. Not a place of separations of elite and inferiors, but of people, just beautiful people. And it's the curse of the beautiful to be misunderstood. You think ugly is ugly, but it's just beauty misunderstood. Open your eyes to the new world as I close mine to the old. And as I do so, I drift away into time. You're the next generation. Embrace the time you've got. And with that in mind, I close my book and say, good night, good evening, and to many, good morning.